Everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another tutorial, and this time we are doing a fill. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going in with my medium drill bit to remove the gel polish off her nails. Once again, that is a medium drill bit, and I am using my Melody Susie nail drill. As you can see, it gets the job done, but like I mentioned before, the only thing that I did not like was the speeds. Now I am working with customer service for them to try to do something about it. I'm not sure what they're gonna do, but hopefully they do something. If not, I'll just get my money back. But once again, we are just removing the gel polish from her nails, and I'm using a medium drill bit. Alrighty, so once again, we are just removing the gel polish from her nails. And of course, if your client has regular polish, then you would just simply remove the polish with a cotton ball and acetone or regular nail polish. Now, I had people asking me if you can remove polish from acrylic nails with acetone, which you can. It would actually come off easier. It won't mess up the acrylic unless you actually soak the nails in acetone, but other than that, the acetone would not do anything to the nails if you just simply remove the polish with a cotton ball. Alrighty, so after that, we're just going to go in with our Tammy Taylor Peel and Stick Cuticle Pusher, and we're going to push those cuticles back. And then after that, we're going to go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. Remember, be careful not to be too rough. You just literally want to remove that shine from the natural nail. You don't want to give your client any ring of fire, so make sure that you don't put too much pressure on the nail because it will cause the nail to burn. So be careful with that. Once again, this is a 180 sanding band, which would be considered a fine sanding band, and we're just removing the shine from the natural nail. And remember, after you file the nail or after you remove the shine, make sure you go back and dust them off. And if you see any little shiny spots left, go back and just gently file again, just to make sure that you get no lifting. After that, we had one nail that was coming off. She had this set for a really long time, so this one started to kind of lift, so I went ahead and just took off the whole nail, which I recommend. If you have a nail that's lifting, you might as well just go ahead and take the whole nail off, because if not, it's going to continue to lift and you don't want to have any greenies. So I took the nail off, took the acrylic off, and then we're going to apply a new nail. She also wanted a cut down, so I would have done a cut down before I even took the polish off or removed the gel polish, but she didn't tell me until then. So I'm just using my tip cutter to cut her nails down to her desired length, and then we're going to reshape them afterwards. Alrighty, so now we're going to go back and fix the nails that she is missing. So remember, when applying nail tips, if one tip is too small and the other one's too big, always go with the bigger one and just follow down the sides to make it fit perfectly. And if you didn't know, the tips come with numbers. It's usually 1 to 10 or 0 to 10. And the biggest number is the smallest tip and the lowest number is the biggest tip. Is that right? Yeah, the biggest number is the smallest and the biggest number is the biggest nail. I think I just confused myself. But anyway, so we're going to cut down the nails to the desired length or to the same length as the other nails. And then we're going to go ahead and shape those. And I'm using a 100-100 nail file. And we're just going to shape that nail. After this, we're going to blend it. And then we're going to move over to our acrylic application. Sorry, and just to clarify, when you're applying the nail tips go from usually a 10 to a 0. So number 10 will be your smallest tip and number 0 will be your biggest tip. So number 10 is usually about your pinkies. Number 9 and 10 are usually your pinkies, and then number 0, 1, 2, and 3 are usually your thumbs, and then the other ones are your other fingers in between. So I hope that helped. So now we're going in with a primer. I'm using my OPI primer, and I'm just applying it on that natural nail. Remember, don't get it on the skin because it will burn them if they have any cuts. After this, we're going in with my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, and this is like a really translucent pink, almost clear. I'm using my alpha brush in a number 9, and I do have a promo code for alpha brush, so I'll leave that in the description. So I'm also applying some glitter. So as you can see, I applied a thin layer of acrylic just to use kind of as an adhesive so that glitter will stick to the nail. And then I'm just gonna dip my brush into the powder, which is the acrylic, and then I'm dipping it into the glitter, and I'm just gonna apply it on the nail and just apply as much as you need until you get the coverage that you want. Alrighty, so then after that, we're going to encapsulate that glitter, and we're going to go in with our same Mia Secret pink acrylic, and we're just going to do a layer on that over the glitter to make sure that it's in the acrylic. Once again, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, and it's like a really clear, almost like a translucent pink. And then we're going to do also some other glitter, which will be a silver holographic glitter. So once again, I do a thin layer of acrylic and then I do the glitter on top of it. You can either sprinkle the glitter straight onto the nail, or you can pick up a ball of acrylic and then dip that into your glitter and then pick up a bead of glitter. Whatever works for you, but this is what works for me. Once again, we're just doing this glitter, and then after that we're doing a bead of acrylic to make sure that we encapsulate that glitter. Alrighty, so for the rest of the nails, it will just be a regular filling. So as you can see, I place that bead closer to the cuticle area. Make sure you clean around that cuticle area really good. You don't want any acrylic on the skin because that will cause lifting. And then you just place acrylic wherever you need it. If you have a little bump or lump and you need to place a bead of acrylic, that is fine. But just don't go in with a lot of acrylic because then you'll have a lot of filing to do at the end. So make sure you work smarter and not harder. Alrighty, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other hand, but this time instead of doing a thin layer of the acrylic, I went ahead and did the glitter by itself, only because I didn't want this pinky to be super thick. I didn't want there to be one layer of acrylic and then some more layers of the actual glitter, so that's why I went ahead and just did one bead with the glitter in it. And then we're gonna do another silver nail as well, and then the rest will be just plain fillings. Alrighty, so when you have a fresh nail tip, you place that bead right where the natural nail and the tip meets, brush that down towards the tip, and then you place another bead either below or above that first one. It just depends on how thick you place that first bead, because remember, a lot of the time you don't have to stick to the same method, because it always depends on how big your first bead was. You know, say you place one and it was big enough to where you had the right thickness, then you don't have to go back and add a lot more. So just kind of add however you need it. That's why I say just work smarter and not harder. You don't have to stick to a certain method. Whatever works for you is fine. Alrighty, so after that I'm going to go in with my 100 nail file, and we're going to reshape the nails. As you can see, they were kind of already in a coffin shape, but after we cut them down they look a little bit more square, so we're going to shape them back into a coffin. And once again, I'm using my 100 nail file, and this will be on my website, which is going to be open on Wednesday, June the 13th at 10 a.m. Central Time. So stay tuned for that and don't miss out, because you know everything sells out super fast. So once again, it will be open on Wednesday, June the 13th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Alrighty, then after we shape the nails, we're going to go in with our fine drill bit and we're going to file the nail. So as you know, I always focus around that cuticle area mainly because I don't ever have any bumps or lumps. So I'll focus on that cuticle area to prevent lifting. Once again, I'm using a fine drill bit, and you just want to make sure you keep going over that cuticle area to make sure that you seal that cuticle area really good. That way you don't have any lifting. Any little gap that you leave back there will cause water to get under there, and it will cause your nail to lift. So if you're doing everything else correctly, if you're prepping the nail correctly, if you're using a primer, if you're sizing your tips correctly, but you're still having lifting, most likely you are not filing around this cuticle area really good. And I know it's really common if you don't use a nail drill and you just use a hand file, it's really hard to get really close to that cuticle area, which most likely you will have lifting, because I have that same problem too. That's why I always make sure that I use my e-file. And then not only just that, because I know there's people that can do a perfect set with just a hand file, but it also just helps with speed. So once again, we're just using an e-file with a medium drill bit to file around the cuticle area and then the whole nail to make sure that our nail is nice and smooth and that our cuticle area is nice and sealed as well. After that, we're going to go in with a two-way buffer, and I get these from my local nail supply store, but I'm sure you can find them online. So we're just going to buff them, and this is to just get rid of any of the scratches left from your e-file. And if you do use a hand file to do all your filing, you will have more scratches on your nails, so you will have to make sure that you buff the nails really good to get a good smooth surface. And after this, we're going to dust the nails off, wipe them off, and then we'll be ready to apply our polish. Alrighty, so I'm going to be doing an ombre. So for my base, I'm going to be using this French Vanilla by D&D, and it is a regular polish. Once again, we're just going to do one coat. And when you're doing an ombre, you want to make sure that you have a base color, because that's what your polish is going to stick to. I had somebody this weekend tell me that they've been trying to do the ombre nails, but they weren't doing a base color, and it just was not working out, which it won't work out. You have to have a base color. So once again, we are going to do an ombre. I'm just doing one layer of the French Vanilla by D&D, and I will leave the link in the description to a website where you can find the D&D gel polishes, or the set actually, for about $6. So I'll leave that in the description. And to clean around the cuticle area, I'm using my 2-in-1 cleanup and nail art brush, which will be on my website Wednesday. Alrighty, so now you are officially going to watch me struggle. This is why I say you have to find the right colors to be able to do an ombre. You can't do an ombre with every color. As you can see, that first purple that I used, you could barely even tell that it was a purple. It looks so clear. And then I used this purple, which was by Essie. I actually do not know the name of it because it didn't have a sticker on it. But as you can see, I'm going to be having a hard time because the colors are too light. So for this next one, I'm going to be using this purple by Morgan Taylor, and it's also going to be too light. So remember, make sure that when you're picking colors, you're probably going to have to go to a couple different colors to make sure that you get the look that you want. This one was way too light as well, and for us to get the coverage that we want, we would have to do a lot of layers. So I'm going to switch that color as well. But for this one, I think I'm going to stick to this one, which is the Essie color. It's just the purple. So you want to make sure that when you're picking colors, they're not too sheer. You want something that's going to actually show whenever you start doing your ombre. So as you can see, I switched my color again for this one. It's still not dark enough. So then I'm switching over to this clean color. It's like a plum color. And it's a little bit more dark, but it's still not what I wanted. So remember, make sure you pick your colors wisely and make sure that they have a good coverage. You don't want something that's too translucent, because if not, it's not going to show up once you do the ombre. Alrighty, so after struggling with this set, I'm going back in with my cleanup brush, which is my 2-in-1 cleanup and nail art brush to clean around the cuticle area, and I'm just using acetone to clean up. And then after this, we're going to apply some bling. So remember, make sure that you choose colors that are dark enough to have a full coverage. And then I'm using a makeup wet sponge, which you can find at Walmart, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, wherever, but they're just regular little makeup wet sponges. Alrighty, so now we're going to go in with our Mia Secret gel resin, and I'm using my SS6, my SS12, and my wax pencil. And whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure that before you apply your glue and your rhinestones, that your polish is pretty much completely dry, because if not, it will kind of mess up the polish a little bit, or it will run when you apply the glue. So be careful with that, but this polish kind of dries pretty fast, so we didn't have a problem. Once again, I'm using my SS6, my SS12, and my wax pencil and my Mia Secret gel resin. And I've had people ask me if you have to cure this gel resin, which you don't. They do sell the Mia Secret gel resin activator that helps it dry a little bit faster, but you do not have to cure it. And you can use it without the activator, but it just helps a lot. Alrighty, so now I'm just going to go in with my IBD gel top coat. We're going to apply that on all the nails, and then we're going to cure each hand for 60 seconds under our UV LED light, which I'm using my Melody Susie UV LED light, and I do have a promo code for them, so I'll leave that in the description. Alrighty y'all, so this is the final look. After sitting there and struggling, they still turned out really pretty. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.